record. All right, so this is the September meeting of the Norwich Youth and Family Services Advisory Board. Erin Hagan, I'm the coordinator for Norwich Youth and Family Services. Jody, you want to go next?
Sure, I'm Jody Savage. I am the coordinator for the Project Outreach Program at NFA, as well as the NFA Prevention Council Advisor.
Bob McKinney, I'm on the Community Policing Unit, Norwich Police Department. I sit on the Attendance Review Board, and I also help run the Juvenile Review Board with Erin.
Hi, I'm Kate Milby from Norwich Youth and Family Services. I'm the caseworker and program coordinator.
And I am Jen Croce. I'm one of the supervisors of the Mobile Crisis Program at UCFS.
All right, cool. Thanks everyone for coming. We do not, again, have enough members to approve the minutes from last month, so that's okay. We did talk about a lot last month, and I do want to revisit all of that stuff. I'm gonna share my screen and put up the minutes just so when we do, well, you know what? I don't think that's actually necessary, because when we do updates, I was gonna do it for updates, so we didn't repeat, some people didn't just repeat the same updates, but I think the only people that were able to make it was me and Bob last month, and that's Kate and Jen didn't even know about it, and I know Jody had a conflict. So so we just go around and do a quick couple minute update about kind of what's going on from your your agency or your whatever, wherever you're coming from, it just related to anything with youth and how it could impact our services and support for youth, if that makes sense. I haven't had a lot of coffee yet this morning, so I'll let Jody go first, and she's a pro at this and has been doing it for a long time. And actually, I think I'm supposed to let her chair the meeting, but I always do this.
I'm good with you.
And so did Kay, so I think that's why, and Angelo. Okay, go ahead.
Just trying to get started this year. We're happy to be back in person, but at the same time, there's still some guidelines and things that we need to iron out in regards to student projects and volunteers. But we are working on, I have set up, or I'm trying to set up a meeting with Norwich Public Schools in regard to mentoring. And so I've been working with that. Ashley Favello, one of the principals at one of the schools, has already stated that she is interested. It's just a matter of figuring out how we're going to do it. Last year we did it virtually, which worked out really well. But this year we do not have our connections period time, so I'm not sure how that will work. Might have to be an after school thing, but I am supposed to be meeting with her as well. So hopefully we will get that up and running. I know that Lou Allen is the new athletic director for Norwich Public Schools. And so he has been in contact with our athletic director in regards to some mentoring programs as well within the athletics. So that's something that's, I know that has been discussed. I don't know where it stands. I haven't had a chance to talk to Roy about that. I met over the phone with Ray Allen before he went on paternity leave. And so we did develop kind of an outline of what the Prevention Council and the NFA prevention students will be working on this year. We want to continue with our podcast. There was a conversation last year about maybe doing a podcast in conjunction with the Norwich Police Department's podcast as well, so that there can be some overlap with that. And so we are going to be looking into that. And yeah, I think that's, and we have some other ideas for projects and things, but they're not fully solidified yet. So yeah.
Awesome. And I did request some mentoring funds through our enhancement grant to use in combination with that program. And we have a different, the 21st Century grant, we can use some of those funds for as well. And then to use some of that mentoring with the police department. And then maybe Kate, I might put you on the spot, talk a little bit about your involvement with Three Rivers, because we did talk about that last month, and she's on the board there. So hopefully she can bridge that gap that we've kind of always run into with working with Three Rivers. So
Also, I just wanted to say I do have a meeting with Caitlin Wagner at the end of this week as well for and she is hoping to do their after school program. She mentioned to me in an email that the issue right now is staffing, but they're hoping to start on September 27th is what the hope would be if they can get staffing.
okay, cool.
So.
All right, Bob, you want to go next?
Building off the last time, a big focus still in the city is the gun violence. And unfortunately, a lot of youth in the city being in possession of guns, whether it be BB guns, handguns, in general. So a big thing that, I've been trying to work on, I think I may have mentioned it last time, was I wanted to do some sort of leadership conference. I had spoke with DJ Exum, he's a basketball coach at Ledyard. But he grew up in the area, was an athlete, big time athlete in the area, went off to play college basketball. He spoke about his, situations in his life where he was faced with making decisions and choosing the path that was going to lead him to the success he's had. So it gave me the idea of trying to do something like that where we can get youth. My goal is to hit like the 12 to 18-year-old range and do it. Start, it's going to be more of a male dominated thing. But I've noticed with the JRB, a lot of these kids that come through are, single family or single parent households, or don't have a lot of guidance, or parents that are stuck working a lot because of the pandemic and whatnot. And these kids don't have that structure that they need. So I picked up a bunch of leaders that I've met in the course of my work over the last couple of years and made a list. I'm not going to give any names yet because I haven't reached out to them yet, but I have letters that I'm going to be sending out to see if they'd be interested in doing it. And then I'd like to do the leadership conference in the end of October, early November, and try to get in these kids to kind of see like what it takes to make those tough decisions in their life early on. That's going to have a direct impact in their life later on. We also discussed last time about the new marijuana laws. Last I heard was there's admin that are meeting in this part of the state that are going to discuss what exactly we're going to do for the written warnings and the health documents that need to be passed out, because unfortunately when the state rolled this out, they didn't roll out any of the templates for what we were going to do for written warnings. So we've been using the juvenile summonses, which kind of makes it a little bit difficult. There's a little bit of confusion on how we're going to get these kids to JRB if they're referred to JRB, because it's not an arrest, it's a warning. But so the rumor is they're working on something now, so hopefully we'll have answers within the next month or two. And I think that was about it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions?
No, do you want to talk, I mean, it's really preliminary, but about our plan to try to talk to the kids about, or do you want me to? It's up to you. You can.
Okay, I went down to Norwich Youth Football just to get my feet wet with the kids, let them see me. There was a little bit of confusion with the coaches, how they felt like we were trying to get down there just to make sure everything stayed, calm and cool, and there was no tension if anybody else showed up. But I reached out to a lot of them, explained like we're trying to build relationships with the kids early on in their lives, and we just want to be down there to help out as much as we can. And then also, we want to teach a little bit too. So hopefully within the next couple weeks, Aaron and I will do some sort of presentation to them on cell phone safety. Obviously the younger ones will just be like, the basic, but as you get older, 16, 17, 15, 16, 17, 18, understanding the dangers of sending pictures to people that you think you can trust, and how bad it can affect you, both on a personal level and getting a job down the road, college life, stuff like that down the road. But I think there's a lot of education that needs to happen that people don't realize, that just sending a photo can actually get you arrested. It may get sent out to people you don't want to see it, but if you're sending it out, you can actually get in trouble as well. And we don't want to see what realistically is you're being a victim, but in the end, like you have that choice to make and you're choosing to send those photos. So we want to make sure that these kids understand that and the risk they're taking.
Just real quick, have you guys had to give, like, has there been a lot of kids that you've had to give out the juvenile summons to for the marijuana? Like, what's that been like in the community, if you know?
I've only seen, I want to say like 2 or 3 so far. Again, it's been kind of chaotic, like not knowing how we wanted to handle it, how we wanted to proceed with the warnings, but it's also there was a little bit confusion in the school system too, how they were going to handle it. Whether it's going to, they want it handled through the police or they want to handle it through, youth and family. But again, with school just starting, I think we're starting to get a grasp on it, and we'll probably have more concrete understanding within the next couple of weeks.
Cool, thank you. Jen, you want to go?
Sure. So I guess I'll start because I don't know how familiar everyone is with Mobile Crisis. So we are the Youth Behavioral Health Crisis Unit. We are a statewide program that is funded through DCF. However, in each catchment area, a different agency holds the contract. So for both the Northeast and the Southeast, DCFS holds the contract. So that is where your mobile crisis team is coming from. So we cover 52 towns, including Norwich. And we respond to any sort of crisis that the family is going through. The family defines the crisis, we don't. So people tend to think we only deal with things like suicidality or homicidality, but we also deal with grief, trauma, disruptive behavior. We've seen a lot of these kids who are sending pictures back and forth, and after they have gotten a summons and have gotten in trouble or are embarrassed, and we're dealing with that, substance use, all of it. We are mobile from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. Monday through Friday, and Saturdays and Sundays, and all holidays we're mobile from 1 to 10 p.m. In that off time where we don't respond in person, there are licensed clinicians available over the phone to help the family basically get through the night until we can respond in person. We go to homes, we go to schools, we can come down to the Youth and Family Services building. We go to parks, wherever the child is in crisis. If we can get permission to be there, we will be there. Currently, we are unbelievably understaffed. We normally have a team of 14 full-time clinicians, and I have 6 currently covering all of these towns. The calls are getting answered. That's all that matters. These kids are getting what they need, but it's certainly difficult. And so if you know anyone, please, please, please send them my way. Call volume is certainly increasing now that school has started back in person. I believe we've seen 60 something calls since school started, since the 30th. So things are definitely going on. We're seeing basically a lot of transition issues of returning to school in person, anxiety related to that. However, the kids we are seeing are definitely more acute than they have been in the past. They are definitely more at risk. They have methods for suicide. Their self-harm is happening frequently and intensely. We are an inpatient diversion program, meaning that we're keeping kids who don't need to go to the hospital out of the emergency department. However, if kids need that, that is where we're going to send them. And we've had a lot of children be referred for inpatient treatment in the past few months. Currently, a lot of services that we refer to, because we refer to long-time services, have extensive wait lists. I think there is staffing issues among every branch of mental health treatment. UCFS outpatient, the health center in Norwich, is also understaffed. So they have a long wait list. All of the in-homes have several month wait lists. So we're doing our best to stabilize them and see these kids more than once if necessary until we can refer them to a longer term treatment.
Wow. Just being a clinician there before, I know how hard it is when you're not understaffed. So I'm sure you guys are getting very tired. I did want to mention to MST NAFI. I know I don't know if you guys usually use them, but I know they have immediate openings for kids that need that, just so you know. They're always messaging us.
Right, thank you.
Yeah. All right, Kate, you want to give it a shot? I know you just started yesterday.
I mean, I can definitely talk about the Three Rivers piece.
Yeah, and I
yeah,
don't know
so-
how comfortable you feel telling people a little bit about youth employment. I mean, just you know,
Sure.
just
Yeah, I mean, and about me too, I guess.
yeah, that would be great. Yep.
So I'm originally from Chicago, so I'm a city girl, and I got my master's in nonprofit management from Quinnipiac when we moved out here. And I worked at Stonington High as their career counselor for 3 years, and then became the youth workforce development coordinator for the city. So I was running the summer youth employment program, our internship programs, and our year-round, I was doing year-round case management through an employment lens, effectively. So helping kids transition out of high school gracefully. So I'm already involved in like the Chamber of Commerce Education Committee, new capacities with United Way. I am on the NFA School to Work Advisory Committee. I am pretty involved in the Norwich community already, just like I said, through that other lens. So we're shifting gears a little bit. And I'm on the board for Three Rivers Foundation. So one of the things that I did, my major project with them this year was actually linking human services officially up with Three Rivers. So the Three Rivers Foundation, we're targeting nursing students and the workforce development students. So like Aaron Sullivan's crew over there, to offer them any specific aid that Norwich Human Services can provide, whether it's housing, utilities, free internet, devices. We have training program money through Norwich Works. So we effectively set up this pipeline. And the Three Rivers Foundation is actually going to help these same kids with some tuition or mission. So if they get in with us, they might also get a discount on the classes they're taking at Three Rivers. So we've already really worked hard this year to streamline and collaborate in a pretty, I mean, we're going to be capturing all of this data, and we created an intake form in Google Drive, so they'll have real-time results on the kids that reach out to us, and everybody can kind of see it. It's transparent in that way. So they've been really strong partners in my experience, anyway, from the board perspective. And I'd be happy to, I think next week I have a board meeting with them, feel them out about maybe having some mentors work with us. And to that same point, we just got $100,000 in ARPA money for Norwich Human Services to run their own internship program. So the internship programs that I was running were contracted through the Eastern Connecticut Workforce Investment Board. So I answered to them as a contractor effectively and had to do things their way, if you will. And this new program that's funded with ARPA money will be managed completely by Hector Sanchez, who took over for me. And so it would be a great opportunity to maybe get paid internships to Three Rivers students who want to then mentor NFA kids, or even younger kids. So it doesn't necessarily even have to be a volunteer program if we collaborate with youth employment programming. So that's my 2 cents.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome. All right. So I think otherwise, I'm just going to quickly look at the minutes. There wasn't a whole lot of other projects I don't think that we didn't talk about. So I'm gonna, let me just look real quick. Yep, we talked about the forum. Okay, cool. I'm gonna pull up, I'm gonna share my screen and pull up the agenda, just so I'm not the only one looking at something. You guys can look at it too. All right. So I was just gonna introduce Kate for the staff changes and Jen as a new board member. I have recruitment notices out because we have the 2 community, like just community members who live in Norwich spots open. So I've gotten some interest from a couple parents and directed them to apply on the website, but no applications have come through yet. So if you in your travels come across a parent or a leader in the community that's pretty actively involved, but maybe not necessarily employed through like social, like through a human services or a social work lens, just because we're kind of heavy on that piece. So just we really want to get like another perspective. So I had thought about maybe asking someone from Rose City United, and I just haven't kind of had the time to do that. So I know Bob is a part of that. I don't know if you want to maybe think about someone you might think would be good for this. So that's that. The change in the meeting time, I really wanted to get that done because we have a youth that joined the board and she is not able to attend because of the meeting being at this time. And historically, that has always been an issue with this board. At one point, Jody was able to bring somebody, but she's kind of been held back on that a little bit through no fault of her own. Just they don't want the kids to leave campus during that time when we are meeting in person, and she's probably in class right now, so she can't come out. So I think I'm gonna see if I can do that informally through an email chain. Is there anybody that's on the meeting right now that is strongly opposed to moving the meeting to 3 o'clock? Okay, great. So I will reach out to the other members via email, and I got to double check with the city to make sure we can do that, or I could just ask for forgiveness later, which is now recorded for the website that probably nobody watches, so it's fine. All right, so I wanted to talk too about a couple things because we have some money that we came into a little bit for prevention stuff. And I just shot an email to Jody yesterday. So we're kind of like at the beginning stages of trying to do a PSA, maybe about youth marijuana use with the change in the law and kind of targeting kids, and maybe even a little bit about parents, like that just because marijuana is legalized doesn't mean kids should smoke weed. So me and Jody are gonna meet on that early next week, but I initially was just thinking like NFA students and maybe community policing. And then Jody, as always, like has a great ideas about involving like a lot of community members. And I did see Madison did a really good PSA on mental health, and it had like a youth pastor and just various community police officers, different people from schools, different people in the community that were known that were in the PSA. So I think that would be really cool. But I guess, putting you on the spot a little bit, but is there any other marijuana or alcohol prevention strategies that you've had as an idea, but just don't have funding for or resources for, that is something we could explore? Just want to put that out to you guys.
When is the LPC grant due? Like when is our ideas due for that?
Oh, so that's October. It's due in October. So we are going to talk about that at the Norwich Prevention Council meeting on Tuesday as well.
Yep.
But so we have that money, which has to go, 20% of it has to go to vaping. I'm going to do a huge part of it towards mental health with the Joining Forces program, which is the Youth and Police Leadership Program, but we can do other substances. So that we have that pot of money, which is also more this year because they got extra funding. So we have $7,145, 20% of which has to go towards vaping. And then in addition to that, we got another $5,050. And so that remaining money, which of course I didn't do the math, but it's about $10,000 so it's about $1,400 towards vaping, right? And then 10,000 that can go towards any substances. Does that sound about right? Based on the numbers I said? Okay. So that's a good amount of money. I mean, the 10,000 was what we got from the state for our original Joining Forces program. And I don't think we need that much money for it, because we were doing all, going on trips all across the state and stuff like that, which I don't know that we would necessarily be able to do. We could do more local trips, and we wouldn't have to pay as much in overtime because the community, we're trying to recruit the community policing officers to participate. And I know some of you guys work second shift, so we don't have to do the overtime for that. But then we have this whole other pot of money that we unexpectedly came into that we have to spend before October 31st. So that's why I wanted to really spend a chunk of that on a real professional PSA, because I've seen other towns do them and they're great. And, we could get it, played all over the place. So, but I don't even think we would spend all the money on that, so I guess you guys definitely don't have to tell me right now, but just based on what you've seen from your different interactions with the community, if you have any other ideas on some things that, need to be in place, so usually we would think about buying curriculums from the school for the schools and things like that, but we bought that last year. So otherwise we're kind of, we can do some billboards and things like that, but that still is going to leave some money. So it would be nice to do something different, but we have to do it quick. So that's how it always works, right? So any ideas right now? I know most of at least 3 of you are on the Prevention Council. And Jen, you can just shoot me any ideas anytime, maybe even talk to the team about it, your team about it.
I know that from the heroin task force, one of the things that came up several times was some kind of signage or something that we could put in restaurant bathrooms or, that type of thing about getting help. And I think, all of our kids, they frequent those, Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's, so it's not just adults, but it would touch adults and children. So I'm thinking maybe if we could, if we have the PSA, maybe tying in some print work and making those signs, for, how to get help or, that kind of thing. I know, years ago we did signs here at NFA for the bathrooms on suicide prevention. They still hang up, and I can tell you that students still read them and students still come to me and say, I'm so glad that we have those in our bathrooms. So, I guess that's an idea that, has been tossed around in that forum. And I don't know if it was ever brought to the other meetings, but.
Okay, yeah, that's great. I like the idea too, whatever maybe the tagline is in our PSA, we could make that consistent. And I just saw that sign at Sachem and I was like, oh, it's so great that it's still up. So awesome. And the other thing I'm going to try to do is see if we can prepay for it. Maybe I can pay Outfront Media, an estimate for that stuff before October 31st, but then get the product after. Sometimes we're able to do that, so we don't have to rush and not feel like we're doing as great of a job, but we're pretty.
And you would want those signs to be, installed. So maybe, looking at the installation of it too, because we put it behind plastic. That's why it's, plexiglass. So that's why it's lasted so long, because it's, so something like that.
Right. Okay. Any other ideas? No, there's no bad ideas. Just throw anything out there. All right. Okay. If you come up with anything after the meeting, definitely let me know. And the LPC grant, like I said, we'll talk more about next Tuesday at the meeting at 9. And even if you're not normally on the Prevention Council, please come, and if you want me to send you the link, I can, because anybody's actually welcome to join that. You don't need an invitation or anything like that. It's not a closed committee where you need to be elected or appointed or anything like that. So the last thing I just wanted to talk about is the IndieFlix films. So we've gotten a couple of these films in the past. IndieFlix is they do all these films about kind of social issues, and they're really, really good. They're really like engaging, informative. The one Angst.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, I got.
Oh yeah, I'm
interrupted.
just talking about the IndieFlix films.
Okay.
So in the past, we purchased one. You have to pay for access for viewing, and they have different ways you can do that for a week, a month. You can do a one-time screening. And so I actually purchased 4 of the films to have for a whole entire month. So, but I can do them at different months. So right now, because it's Suicide Prevention Month, we have the Angst one, which is all about raising awareness around anxiety. And each film also comes with a dashboard that has toolkits, discussion guides. So I'm really, trying to get the schools to access it for the students, and then to access some of the materials. So any other ideas? I mean, I put it out on Facebook and send it to our listserv, and it doesn't have to be just Norwich. Anybody can watch it, any town. So any other ideas on how to promote that? It's great. And then we have Upstanders, which is anti-bullying. So that one we're going to have access to in October. And I'm actually working with Deb because the next community conversation, she told me, is at Bully Busters. So I don't know if you even know that, Bob, but so I was thinking, we talked about maybe doing a screening of it after the community conversation, like people can stay and hang out if they want and watch the screening there. And then again, it'll be available for the entire month. And then we also have the Like film, which is about social media, we did offer that just in the spring as well. I was trying to look for like social media awareness month or something. But so we'll have that for an entire month. And then they're working on a film that's not finished yet called Race. So that's all about race relations and kind of very current topic. And I don't really know actually too much about it because it's just still in the works. So we'll have that available too for a month, and we can do them anytime this year. So any ideas that you have about the Like and Race film of when we can do that? Race would probably have to be after January. I think they said it was available. So do you guys have any questions for me?
Just a comment about the Upstander one. Do you know the length of that?
Yeah, they're all like how long the movie is. Is that what I think they're all like 40 to 50 minutes.
Okay.
So
And is there an age group on them, or is it more?
no, it's like middle school and up.
Okay.
I think anybody younger, I mean, not that anyone younger wouldn't benefit from it. It just would depend on their, abilities, if they would kind of get it, but I think a lot of 6th grade and up for sure. And there would probably be some 5th graders that would benefit from it too. But it's really like middle school and high school kids. I think it would, all the films really resonate with, and adults. I mean, really, I've had so many adults come to me and say that it was helpful. So I know it helped me, like personally and professionally. So
I was just wondering, like with the bullying one, I mean, maybe that's something that like my students would be willing. I know that's one topic that they brought up at the meeting a couple of months ago. Well, before school ended, excuse me, but about, and I'm losing my headphones. It's been a great day. But just maybe, you know, going and being like, doing it as a peer thing. So like, we would watch the video together with like the middle schoolers after school maybe, and then do some kind of like conversation, but also maybe like an activity or something.
Yeah,
You know, and then that way it could be a peer-led viewing or something.
yeah, I mean, because, I mean, we can, even though we didn't pay for like an official screening with the company, because we have, I mean, I can play it on anything, so we could
Right.
do something like that and do a community conversation for any or all of them. I think that would be really great. So,
Yep.
all right, cool. That's all I have. Do you guys have anything else? Any questions for the Jen or Key? I know. Here, let me stop sharing my screen. You guys have any questions about what the heck this thing, this board is or anything? I mean, really, just to give you a sense, like historically, a lot of it was kind of a reporting thing where people would come and give updates and things like that, and really not maybe like a working board. And I think we've tried over the past year or so to kind of develop like projects that, you know, 2 people or 3 people in the board can work on together, or find people to work on and be more of a functional board like that, but not overwhelmingly, you know. So just kind of like if it fits into your, where you're coming from and is something you're passionate about, then it can be something you could partner with someone to do, or you just bring ideas and me and Jody and now Kate make them happen. So, but now I make Bob do stuff too. So, but Jen, I won't give you too much because you got enough on your plate right now.
My own caseload, so.
Yeah, yeah. Oh gosh. I still have like PTSD from that job. So, all right, I'm gonna stop recording because nobody in the community needs to know that.